And welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot with Ryan and Luke. Brought to you today by, we don't have a sponsor, Raging Against the Machine.
By Raging Against the Machine. Yeah, there you go.
And FC Bayern. Let's just, let's go. The Machine, Rate and Rage Against the Machine. So, yeah. Perfect.
Definitely the machine they're raging against, right?
All right, so let's just jump into it. We got a lot of news to get through this week. Some good, some bad, some to be determined. So let's start with
the to be determined. I think is good news in some ways.
I definitely think it is as well, but to be determined. Yes. So let's start with the verified good news. We have a Team of the Week recipient with Noe Meza for his goal against who was that against?
But that's what happens. We play 3 games in one. Yeah.
NoCo. This is NoCo goal.
3 games in one.
Spoiler: Noe scored against NoCo.
Yeah, if you haven't watched that one, go watch it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both. I don't know how much we're going to talk about both matches in depth, but I think both of his goals this week were both really good products of him just being in the right place and having a more veteran forward up there with him. Now, granted, Corey is more veteran than Alex, but I think both goals he benefited from a veteran being up there with him. And I know we've talked about that both on and off the recordings before.
No, and definitely something that has continued to shine in Noe's goals throughout the season is his off-the-ball movement to get into place. And that definitely was telling in the workup for his goal against Northern Colorado. But, congratulations, Noe, on getting Team of the Week. We'll break into the actual goal analysis a little bit later. Let's go to the sad news. Bad news. Isaac Bawa was listed with a season-ending ACL injury, which that marks our second of the season. Both ACLs.
Yep.
Yeah. Gio Montes de Oca earlier in the season, who showed some great promise, some great tenacity out there. And Bawa, who I felt was just getting into his best form of the season. And then just most unfortunate incident out there, not the result of a foul or anything.
Was Gio's at practice?
No, Gio's was in a game as well.
Was it in a game as well? Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yep. But Isaac,
sorry, Gio, if you're listening.
Yeah. Isaac, if you're listening, we wish you the best. If there's anything that Omaha fans can do for you, let us know.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this amongst us, and I think it was on the Discord a little bit, but I think the one thing this team does a really, really good job of is honoring these guys. They signed a contract, and even though they got injured, they do everything they can to keep helping they're a good employer in that way. And I think it really says something about who we are. And it's why we can get guys like Isaac, like Gio, like Corey Herzog that wants to come play here, because they know that those guys they're going to be taken care of no matter what happens to them. And without a CBA at our level, they don't have to do that. And so it's nice that they have that protection and those guys have that peace of mind.
Yeah, no, definite benefit, having Union Omaha being the team it is, but having a partner like Nebraska Med, who, and a trainer like Justin out there, really just making sure these guys are getting, top level professional care every step of the way, whether it's preseason, during season, postseason. The team team is supporting their players, and that's just massive.
Yeah, this news, I think, didn't shock you because I remember I was on the berm with you when it happened, and when he walked off under his own power, I kind of had this sense that maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was when he was laying on the ground. And so then when the news came out, it was like it kind of took me by surprise. Granted, you don't need your ACL to walk forwards. That's not what that tendon is there for. The ligament is there for. It's there to help you with the side to side movement. But it was just, I think that's why it caught me off guard.
Yeah, it definitely didn't think it was. I thought it was bad because Isaac's not going off for an injury unless it's a bad injury. But I was thinking more along the lines of a bad sprain or something. I was not in my darkest thoughts that it was an ACL. But
Yeah.
just rewatching back on some of the spots there, made sure to focus in on that. And you could see he went up for it and took a couple steps forward, and it was like, oh, something's wrong. Turns, and then it's like, okay, crap, I'm on the ground.
Yeah. And I kind of maybe thought hamstring at one point because obviously you grab your knee, he's grabbing that same area. I thought maybe just because of the way he went down, but yeah. I mean, either way, obviously speedy recovery, and hopefully we can put something together for him.
Yep.
Do something nice for him.
The next to be determined news, which let's be honest, we're super excited about this one. Great addition to the team. We've got Shaft Brewer Jr.
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure that everybody I saw that was excited about this was excited just because his name is so amazing. And Junior means that there's another Shaft Brewer out there, which is even better.
So, apparently has made his way around USL a little bit at the age of 22.
Yeah.
So he's from Sacramento. Went through the Sacramento Academy. Then went to the Dallas Academy, FC Dallas. From there, went over to Leipzig, RB Leipzig. Yeah.
Sorry.
The most hated team in Germany that's not affiliated with neo-Nazis. However, they have produced some great talent, and there's been some. It's a great opportunity for American players to get over there in a worldwide system. Just as far as German soccer fans go, no Leipzig.
Okay, so this is not about Leipzig. This is just about Red Bull in general. I will give them credit of their intention of having a US-based team, an Austrian team, a German team, and moving guys within their system. It does work in that sense, and they do tend to have guys that go from Salzburg over to Leipzig, and they even moved Marsh over at one point. So there's just a lot wrong with Leipzig. That's why.
Yeah, no. I very, very much agree. That, but it's a great opportunity for him. He was there at the U18, U19 level. Got some good experience there, and went from that from Leipzig straight to LAFC, where it looks like he got 4 or 5 matches with LAFC between loan stints to Phoenix Rising, which is another fantastic USL team.
Yeah, great organization.
So he's made his way around. Yeah. And
I find it interesting. He was when he was on Sac Republic's academy team, according to the press release, he was the top scorer for the academy team. And in true J Mims fashion, he he collects a guy that is a goal scorer and decides he's going to play him in defense. So
it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, because he's a left winger, right winger.
Yeah.
And then the press release by Union Omaha lists defender, but then at the same time also lists forward. I'm pretty sure, considering the one place we need depth and have needed depth since day one, as you can go back, listen to any episode of any season on this pod, we need depth at defense.
Our evergreen topic on who gives a shit. Yeah, you know, and there was we were having some conversations on Discord around this signing, and then also around just what was going on. And there was a lot of talk about maybe playing 5 at the back, or playing a version of that where even what we did in the last match where we had 4, but Jay essentially shifted them to 3 at the back and had wing backs. And so when you get a guy like this and you have a guy like Ryan Jiba, those guys can play that in-between role, because Ryan was a winger in college, and now he's an amazing left back. And so, though, you know, if we throw him on the right at right back, it's not like he's not going to push forward. It's the Dami situation. Dami did the same thing for us.
Yeah. No, flying fullbacks, I think he'll slot very well in. I don't think this was a last-minute signing, considering his pedigree, to Phil Isaac. I think the announcement may have been rushed up a little bit, and maybe the paperwork finalized a little bit quicker. But I think this was something that's been in the works for a while, and a huge welcome on behalf of the pod and media empire to Shaft. So
yeah, you know, I think we had a couple. You and I, neither of us could actually physically go to the game Wednesday, but we had enough people. One of which is Ben Jammin, who actually sent us a picture as, who is this guy? But he was sitting with the team in street clothes during that match, so clearly he's been with the team for a period of time.
Yeah.
For him to be able to then go on the field after the match and congratulate the guys and so he's been at least trialing or been here for a little bit to be able to. So that's why I don't feel like it's an emergency signing. The Isaac thing just makes it feel that way.
For sure. So very, very excited for that. Again, to be determined. I think it's going to be hugely beneficial to have another guy in a system for Jay to work with. And with the coaching chops we have right now, there's so many ways it can go. So
that's another piece of news.
Oh, yeah. Wait, didn't we get that last week?
I thought it got announced after the pod, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Either way, Boris.
I didn't listen because Liam was on.
Yeah. We didn't get Natasha, but we got Boris as our new goalkeeper coach, which that had been Daniel Galvin up until I think preseason.
Yeah. You know, Luke, I think you and I talked about this, but it was never official, and we thought maybe they were just never going to announce it. And then it turns out that on August 12th, they decided, hey, we're going to announce we have a new goalkeeper coach.
Yeah. Well, also great pedigree, stints in the MLS, and then longer stints in the MASL, Major Arena Soccer League, which, if you've ever been to an MASL game, MASL 2, MASL 3, those keepers are nuts. And he was with San Diego Sockers. They played the Tampa Bay Tropics down there. We'll assume the Tropics. In the final, where I believe he got beat out, but still, strong pedigree in the MASL, coming in, being able to, and having been playing as recently as just the off season, no, that's a good way to push both Rashid and Kevin to really step up. So
he played against Creighton because he was I don't know. Creighton probably wasn't in the Big East back then, but he was a Big East guy. Went to Seton Hall. But 15 years of professional experience playing, the nice part about being a goalkeeper is it doesn't matter whether it's arena soccer or it's outdoor, whatever, you have to be crazy to play keeper, and he knows what he's doing. And I think that he probably feels. I bet if we talked to Boris, he'd be like, "I'm actually the lucky one because I get to go and coach Rashid Nuhu and Kevin Pita. And those two guys bring it every day anyway, and they're so disciplined about their own stuff that he probably doesn't have to do a whole lot to get them motivated."
Well, I'd still, just excited to see what sort of growth he can force out of both Rashid and Kevin, because I know there's a lot of spots that haven't necessarily been hit yet, that those guys, if they can grow even more, just going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump into games. We got two of them to get through. First one, Union Omaha versus Northern Colorado Hailstorm Football Club. Let's add more words to this. But no stadium. Not even a baseball stadium.
I liked that the Cologne guys that came for the national meetup were singing whether they were a hockey or soccer team, because that was the best part of the whole thing.
The FC Cologne meetup in Omaha, and the fact that 30 mildly inebriated.
They were having a good time.
Cologne fans all showed up and brought in some very unique and fun chants to a third division soccer team. Definitely fantastic.
And huge shout out to those guys, because a vast majority of them are from Chicago and are Chicago Fire fans, and every one of them from Chicago bought a piece of merchandise to take back with them. So shout out, because they weren't too happy with us after that.
we are their father. That in Minnesota. So yeah.
Or Vader. That's all that matters.
This lineup was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Your back line had, to that point, our favorite. Now to be determined what our favorite will be going forward. But Chiba, Touche, DK, and Bawa out there, just that's a lock. They play fantastically, and hard to put any fault there. There's a reason why we'd had so many draws, because them and Rashid in goal. That's just not, barely anything's getting through.
We still have given up the least amount of goals, and the next closest is still 10 more given up than we have. So our defense is playing lights out, and Ryan Jiba obviously has been one of the most improved players, and from game one to now. But I gotta give Alex Touche a lot of credit too, because he has become such a rock back there with Dalton at center back that it feels like last year, where we had two strong center backs and you didn't have to worry about a whole lot, and Cheeto could just do his thing.
That's one of the downsides with a good center back, and something that I know we've always kind of lamented on with Dalton is you're dependable. When you're looking to move on to your next step, and there's not a whole lot of things written about you or anything, because you're just dependable. Everybody counts on you to be there, and you're always there. And
very true.
I like to be a successful center back. I feel like that's your role, and Touche has really landed in it. But midfield wise, we we had a little bit of a change up there. Oh, JP, great out there. No Connor. Or no,
Yeah.
sorry. No Connor on this one.
Yeah, no Connor
Okay.
there because he played midweek. Yep.
So, I mean, we had Dalton wearing the armband, which that's now his second, third time this season. Has done a fantastic job as captain every time doing. Luis Gil, Joe Brito, and Noe. I mean,
Essentially.
Noe or Dion, and Corey Herzog at the 9. Like, really impressive. I feel like some fitness was lacking a little bit in some of the guys to play a full as long as they did, but there really wasn't a whole lot against this starting lineup that I was worried about. And seeing Noe up there, as you were talking about, just Team of the Week, with an experienced forward, Corey Herzog, who has the first or second most in USL history, just nuts overall nuts overall goals scored in his career. Him up there with Noe, 12th minute. Corey lets the ball go through to Noe. Noe passes it off to Corey, who's making an outside run. Corey lobs it up to Noe, who's gone into the space, and Noe just slots it home. Like, it just the perfect setup. Beautiful cross by Corey in his first start at Werner Park. Like, just everything that could have gone right with that goal went right.
I think it's what you and I had talked about it with Evan and Greg last year, of how many times one or the other of them would either fake someone out, a defender out, or attempt to go for the ball, but then let it play through to the other one, and then the other one scores a goal. And when you have guys up top that know how to do that, know when to let it roll, and don't just try and play it at their feet every time, you're going to get goals like this. And credit to Noe, he slotted it home. I mean, he did a great job.
No, I have extremely minimal notes for anything those two did in the first half. I felt like there were very few chances that weren't taken by them that could have been. I think the only real chance that was taken and missed in the first half was by Dion, like pretty early on, with a header that just went just wide of an open net, and understandable, not being able to get that in, but that would have put us up there 2-1, and that would have got us the game, I think.
Well, I think what you said just there was the story of this match. It was the story of missed opportunities, especially in front of goal, because there were a lot of opportunities prior to them equalizing where we could have gotten another one or two, and them getting a goal wouldn't have mattered at that point. But we just couldn't. We either just couldn't get the shot off, or when we did, it wasn't a well taken one. It was a bad header. It was bad, it was stuff like that. It's just, that's kind of just been the team this year. We just struggle to get the goal and get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. I see the pieces coming together. It just, they need to click, and we can get a little bit more into that with the next game, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
But second half rolls around. and you start seeing some tired legs.
For sure.
I felt Corey probably should have been a halftime sub. Didn't get subbed off till the 80th minute or 85th minute. Played very well, but there you could just see certain points where it looked like he was taking the cheap fall, trying to get something instead of pressuring on the ball like he had been in the first half.
When he was with Hartford, he didn't play a whole lot, right? Or didn't play at all.
I think he played a decent amount there.
Okay, because it felt like some of the reason why he left Hartford was because of disagreements about his playing time, and maybe of how he was being used. But you just wonder if he wasn't getting regular playing time there, and then you come here. It's you can't expect a guy to go 80 or 90 if he's not been playing 80 or 90 this season.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think the quality of play at Hartford might be less than the quality of play at Union Omaha, which could be another big thing. So Isaac comes off gets injured in the 69th minute of the match.
Nice.
Comes off in the 71st minute for Eddie. Yeah. Eddie hasn't gotten a huge amount of playing time, has typically done pretty well. Mm-hmm. But 75th, 76th minute roll around, maybe even 77th, goal happens.
Yep.
Well set up, but I feel like Eddie's positioning there was blocked Shido from following through on a save. Mm-hmm. That would have kept that out. And Eddie did a little bit of a turn on it rather than just keep his body flush.
Yeah.
And rookie mistake. Can't really blame him when Irvin Parra lays one right at you.
It drove me nuts that he had just gotten a yellow card right before that, though.
Yeah,
like he gets a damn yellow card and he scores on us. I'm like, it's not supposed to happen that way.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not ideal on
that. And interesting too, because that was only. I mean, obviously, next game coming up, we have another one, but that was only the 5th goal scored on us at home. Granted, we haven't played a lot of home games this year, but for as bad as it feels like we've played at home, had only given up 6 goals total, and 3 of those were to Greenville. Or was it 2? Was it 2, 3? I don't remember.
We gave them 3. They gave us 2.
That's fair, but for that sake, I mean, it's just like if you take out that outlier, we've only had 3 other teams score on us at home, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, it really is impressive because this was our 9th undefeated game. Which
10, this one was 9.
This one was 9.
Yep.
Which that's just nuts. But I think there was definitely Isaac having to come off definitely hurt our overall chances of pulling out a win here. Not because Eddie was pulling less back, but I felt like Isaac was putting the ball forward more and was the way the whole game had been building up, had developed more into that offensive defensive role. And Eddie just came in as kind of a Band-Aid. But we kept it 1-1. Reffing wasn't terrible. We played again Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing I remember pointing out to you on the Burr more than anything was, despite the result, that was the one time that I felt like long time we've had a pro ref come in, and we've had a well called match. It didn't feel like anything was too egregious. Um, even on Isaac's injury going back, it doesn't look like it was anything that anybody did to him. So it's like I thought it was like one of the few times that we can we actually say good things about a ref, because normally we just want to
Yeah.
rag on him or rail on him. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with how he managed that match overall.
Now, the game Wednesday against the Independents, Charlotte Independents. The reffing still wasn't bad there, but
No, it helped watching this one on TV, honestly, because was it Donnie? Donnie was our announcer, right?
Mhm.
But he pointed out that this guy, whatever his research was, research told him that he's one of the more lenient refs and tends to let more things go. And that actually helped me while I was watching it, because there were a few things that
Yeah.
normally I'd have been like, "What are you doing?" But knowing that that's normal for him, it was good to hear.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think the one call that I think most Union Omaha fans, especially those that were present, um, had the biggest, what
Right?
qualms about, was the penalty. And ref was in a good position to see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
G should have probably thrown the shoulder 5 steps prior, so it was outside of the box. If he was going to commit to throwing the shoulder, but guy schooled G. Cheeto didn't get there, or was trying to come up to cover the defensive lapse.
Yeah.
And that went in. Went as a PK, which then went in.
That there was two that on Wednesday that there was that one. There was one in the second half. Both times I thought Cheeto did not look comfortable making the decision to come out for the ball. The other one was that free kick that bounced kind of weird in front of him, where he ended up getting kicked in the not fun part. As you've said, in the peanuts. But yeah, I were texting during the match and stuff. But initially I was like, man, it looks like that guy just threw himself into Cheeto. Can't believe they called that. And admittedly, I was also trying to go and help my daughter with something at bedtime and watch that at the same time. So I wasn't fully watching. So then when I watched the replay and I actually watched what G was doing, then I was like, oh, I see what Luke was saying. Yeah, that was a good call. He definitely a situation where you want your defender to just make a decision, and he should have rushed up the ball and just, even if you're giving up a corner, just boot it past the end line and get it out of there.
Yeah. All right. Let's track back a second, because this is a very different lineup.
Oh, very
different lineup. In fact, I think the only 4 that stayed the same in the starting were Touche, Dion, Dalton, and Rashid.
Yeah, because it was Kamal and Noe.
Yep. No, it was Kamal and Bruce that started.
That's right. Because Noe came on for Bruce. Or for Kamal.
Noe came on for Kamal.
For Kamal.
So it was, Kamal, Bruce, Doyle, Emir, Dion, Shivani, Touche, DK, Eddie, and G, with Rashid and goal.
Yeah. I just kind of want to go down the lines, because I think I appreciated watching a home match, because I don't watch a lot of home matches on TV. outside of like my quick rewatches sometimes. So it's fun watching it, but I really appreciate the ability to hear Jay and our bench um, because they're hilarious, but also I learn a lot of what they're asking the guys to do. Um, and Jay was very, very happy with, as he called him Brucey the entire time, but he was very happy with how Alex was pressing and the way he was working. But it was just great to hear him and Bobby both. The way they're, Jay is definitely talking to the forwards. Bobby's talking a lot to the guys in the back. But it was just great to hear them say, like, no, stay back, go, 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 and just the way that they were coaching those guys on. But I thought both Alex and
Which
Alex and
Alex?
what's that?
Which Alex?
Yeah. Oh, Bruce. I thought Brucey and I'm talking the forwards, Brucey and Kamal. I thought they both looked really good in that first half. The press looked really good.
No. One thing like that I thought it very much in retrospect on this starting, well, essentially the whole lineup that came out is these are a lot of guys who aren't getting the normal start.
Yeah.
Like these were some guys who are hungry. And it showed. Like the first 20 minutes were scary, very scary. Rashid had to
really
make some big saves in those first 20 minutes, but then when everything came together, it really just everything came together.
Yeah, especially looking at the bench and realizing we had one defensive sub on the bench.
Yep.
I know you jokingly
Which we
said
made
on Discord. Yeah, we had to make. I know you jokingly said on Discord that Kevin could play defense if we needed him to, but in reality, and Jibo was our only defensive sub on that bench. So if it didn't go right or the defense wasn't playing well, it wasn't like Jay could make big changes to the defense using some of his 5 subs. He really only had one guy that he could put in there.
Yeah, like our defense needed to work. I think was still needed another game to come back from an injury.
Yeah.
There were a lot of missteps, a lot of miscalculations, and just poor decision making, which isn't typical of him. He's a better player than what he was showing out there, and
For sure.
Ultimately, I think Isaac not being available and Ryan needing the rest, like
Yep.
that very much changed the style of the game. But that first half was just the guys starting to just get the feel of each other out there. And then I felt like we were on the front foot for this second 3/5 of, or the later 3/5 of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, after about the 7th minute when Shido had to make a double save and fell on his butt a couple times, I felt like that kind of woke our guys up a little bit too.
Yeah.
And we, obviously giving up a penalty and getting scored on that way is not the way anybody wants to go down one either. And I think that when you have hungry guys, they want to prove that they didn't, that was a fluke and that they deserve to be out there. And so I think that just drove them to play even harder and get the result that we ended up getting.
Well, and I think Rashid's voice when somebody screws up is enough to wake anybody up.
He scares me, and I'm not even back there.
Yeah. Second half, Jay makes a rare halftime sub. As you mentioned,
we didn't talk about the best part of the first half.
Okay, talk.
DK took a penalty or took a free kick.
He did, and it almost went it was on target, but it went straight into the arms of Adrian Zendejas.
Yeah, he my only critique, I know that DK listens from time to time. My only critique and coaching tip I would give DK is a little bit more power, man. Leg strength, but it just kind of dribbled to the keeper at the end. I think if he would have put a little power behind that, he might have put a little bit more worry into Zendejas.
It was through traffic. I feel like he was hoping for a deflection.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he really had a rocket on it, it would have gone in.
Donnie's call on that was classic too. He's like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Well, we had it was Amir, Dalton, and who else was lined up over that?
Hang on, I'll look. I just had it pulled up. And Shivani was over there.
Yeah, like we had 3 guys lined up over it, all in a spot, and yeah, Dalton ends up being the one to take it, which was not my figure of the 3.
No, I figured Dalton would do what Amir did, which was the step over, so someone else would run up, because they do that little distraction. Because Amir did that where he ran over the ball but didn't touch it, and then Dalton took it, and I was like, I figured Dalton would run over and they let Shivani just try and shoot a banger like he likes to do. So anyway, I just had to give DK crap on
that. That is fair. That is fair. Second half, rare halftime sub, Kamal for Noe. Don't know if Kamal got injured.
I mean, Jay, obviously, he even pointed it out in his post-game comments about why he rotated the squad so heavily, having 3 matches in 7 days. And you got to wonder if he's thinking about Saturday and needing, both Kamal and Noe probably to have to play. And if that's the case, then I can see why he would make that decision to rotate him out, knowing that maybe he's gonna start Noe but sub Noe at halftime or later in the match and have Kamal come on. I mean, obviously, you look like a genius as a manager when the guy you sub on scores a goal. So I can't fault Jay for making the choice. And Noe's typical young player. They get streaky, and when things are going well, they start playing even better. And so, I think that's what came apart. There's a lot of it is 2 goals in 2 matches.
No, and I mean, Noe came on. Granted, the penalty was given in the 51st minute. We already discussed that.
I was just rewatching
it. Well taken penalty. The little Rashid could have done on that. Noe answers within 6 minutes. I hate that they have to score first for us to, but the way Noe answered, again, just eye towards goal, playing that space beautifully, gets up in there, ball comes across. What was it? Dion had the first hit, Bruce had second on that. And then fell to Noe finally, who got it in.
Yeah, so I have the highlights going while we're talking, and what was interesting is this is only the second time that we've won this season from after conceding first. So that's a huge thing for our guys because obviously now we're only 2-1-2 in that situation, so it's only happened 5 times or whatever. But still, just to know that they can do that and to do it at home. Crowd sounded amazing while we were watching, while I was watching it, which was good. But yeah, I think it sucks to have these guys get jump started by getting scored on first. But like we pointed out, this was a lot of guys that are getting rotated in that don't get a lot of minutes. And sometimes you need the kick in the butt from the other team to kind of kickstart you. And I think that's what happened is they're pissed they gave up the penalty. Rashid's always mad when he gives up a goal, even though it doesn't happen very often. I think that's why he gets mad. And it motivated the other guys to push forward and go get one,
Yeah. The guys are hungry, and it's great to see because I haven't seen that most of the season.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
they acted like they wanted goals that game. They acted like they wanted more than one. They acted like they were unhappy with a draw.
Agreed.
And ultimately, they were unhappy with a draw because, again, nice run of play going forward. Ball gets put into the middle, and who steps up to it? Shivani from 20 yards out and buries it.
Buries it.
Like,
Keep shooting, Shivani.
We're sorry. We are very sorry, Shivani. We were wrong. Keep shooting.
I'm gonna sit here in my wrongness.
I no. You can ask my wife. I do not admit it often. I was wrong.
Yeah, I loved it because that was the ball to Shivani there too was such a simple pass from Connor, but but Connor, Connor just that's the captain, that's the veteran experience in the midfield. But Connor sees him. There's three guys around Shivani, but they all had given him like 3 or 4 yards of space. No one closed down on him, and all Connor had to do was slightly pass it up to him. Shivani turned around and just fired it in. So it was a well taken shot, no matter what.
Yeah. I thought Shivani had a hell of a game ultimately,
Yeah.
and filling in for JP there at the sixth position. I thought just his growth in Jay's system has really, really occurred finally. Like it's come to fruition.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Eddie had a much better game. Whether that was because he actually got to practice at that spot for a couple days, or he was getting more reps there, whatever it was. I thought Eddie really redeemed himself in this match compared to what we were just talking about.
Eddie made a save.
Yeah.
I think it's like 75th minute or something. Eddie made the save, got there when Rashid couldn't. So fully redeemed himself.
Yeah. As I tweeted, Eddie played his ass off. Like, absolutely played his ass off. Like that. If he keeps playing like that, it's going to be hard to keep him off the pitch all the time.
No, it was a lights out performance by Eddie and Shivani, in a way that I was not expecting from either of them. You could tell they both really were thinking about that starting spot, and I think based on that performance, they've shown reason to consider them fully for that.
Well, I think it gives Jay confidence knowing he has another one of these 3-game weeks coming up. That hey, I can rotate guys, and I mean Jay even admitted in the match this is a heavily rotated squad, and to get a win when you're playing a lot of guys that don't play a lot, that's huge. It's huge for confidence for those guys because they know that they can do it, and it's huge for Jay's confidence in them. So I'm that was my biggest takeaway. I'm glad we got 3 points. Obviously, it shot us up to 3rd place, which is huge. But the fact that you can get 3 points with only 4 regular starters in that 11 was a really big step up for this team.
Yeah, the way it all came together there, fantastic. The way it came together after the subs came on as well is something interesting, because 77th, 78th minute, Amir comes off, Shivani comes off, Alex Bruce comes off, replaced by Ricky, Ryan, and Hugo. Playing a little bit more bunker at that point, bringing Ryan on. Eddie, I think, slid a little bit more midfield at that point, but in a more defensive role. Hugo had a great opportunity for a goal.
He just needed to get up. That's all he had to do. Keeper was already on the ground. All he had to do was get over him.
Hugo is reminding me of Happy Gilmore putting, of of Isaac, Ted Lasso, like, needs something that's not on the pitch and not in practice, just needs to go out and have fun with it. Like, needs to go out and have a, like, low key, just learn
like a
how
pickup
to,
game or something.
yeah, like, just figure it out, because the kid could do it.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. I'm moving because I got to plug my phone in. I just talked too long, Lucas. About Hugo as a sub though is he brings the energy, and he likes. You can tell he likes the pressing part of the game. Like, he enjoys that Jay wants him to do that, and
yeah,
him coming on late, being a young guy with a lot of energy, it really helps him coming on late, even if he's not scoring goals, but he's putting that pressure on that defense. It looks good. Now he needs to control the ball better. He needs to get out of his own head a little bit, because there's a couple where even just maintaining it down in the corner just to kill some time, he could have done a better job, and the ball ricocheted off his foot too hard. His first touch was a little rough,
yeah,
whatever. So I like the kid. I think he's a good example of a year two guy, that
yeah,
a year in the system, a year two guy that can make a lot of strides next year after having played with these guys, having played under guys like Corey and Dion and guys like that have done it for a long time too. So, yeah, I look, we'll never question his effort. That's the one thing with Hugo. You're never going to question that.
so yeah, Hugo's efforts there, like, he's trying everything he can. Ricky in last night's game was, he wanted to be there, and he was going to do everything to make it work.
Yeah.
Independence was setting some great offside traps.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky got caught on a couple of them. By about the third time he got caught, or knew he was about to get caught, he just starts pushing the guys so he can get a couple extra steps. And I'm like, yes, Ricky, this is exactly what we need to see from him. No, he's really just trying to force the issue. He knows he can do it if he can get the space, and he just hasn't gotten the opportunity there.
You wonder too. I don't know. I don't want to put anything into Ricky's mouth, and I don't think there's any bad blood. But you wonder, Ricky was the returning veteran striker we brought. We brought these young guys. We were kind of taught, and then Jay brings in Corey Herzog. And you wonder how much for Ricky it's like, no, I'm gonna go out here and show you. Like, great you brought Corey. Glad he's here, but don't forget about me. And I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna play balls to the wall to show you I can still do it. You can still rely on me. And I think Ricky absolutely did that on Wednesday.
No, I think that was the Ricky that we've been dying to see. I wish he'd been given more than 20 minutes, because I think we would have definitely seen some fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, Creel said it before. It takes guys 5 to 10 minutes a lot of times to work their way in the game, and I think sometimes with strikers, it takes them forwards. It takes them even longer, just because of the nature of learning, like the offside trap thing right there, right? If you're in for more than 20 minutes, you start getting the sense of when they're setting up for that as a striker, and you don't fall trap to it as often. And I think that's the thing with Ricky. If he could have come on in the 60th and had 30 minutes, we probably would have seen 20 minutes of that Ricky instead of 10 minutes of that Ricky. So,
very, very much agreed there. Um, five for some reason there were 9 minutes of stoppage time. Uh, Eddie gets subbed off at the 98th minute for who came on for him? Luis.
Yeah, it was Luis.
Yeah, like there was no reason to have 9 minutes of stoppage time in that game.
Jay made that sub at that point just to prove the point that 9 minutes was stupid. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
going to waste this last minute by bringing a sub on because you saying 9 minutes was that there was I said there was a lot of funny moments. One of the funniest moments was when they held up 9 minutes and you could hear Jay go, 9? Like, he just screamed it across the pitch. It was hilarious.
It was one heck of a game. I'm sad neither of us could actually be there in person,
Yeah.
but the guys definitely earned that one. Highlight for me of the match watching on ESPN: Wes Mims celebrating with Shivani.
Amazing.
Like, if you haven't met Wes Mims, Jay's brother, who's also equipment manager for the team, nicest guy you'll ever meet. One of the most enthusiastic people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
His look of just genuine happiness for what Shivani had done, and like the way he's pumping him up, like that just made my night there.
Yeah.
Because that was Shivani scored in the 67th minute, so
yeah, sounds all right.
68 minutes on the game clock. If you want to go back and look on ESPN Plus, just fantastic.
Well, you can tell that Shivani's a guy that it's not just his play, but I think his personality. Even though, like, I don't know how many of the videos, like when they do their Boo Host TV stuff, they ask their question or they do their, like, he always says something funny. He always has like a smile on his face. He's always, I think he just brings like that energy to it. We were talking before we got on and how one of the parliament members reached out to him and asked if they could make a cool running chant. For some of these guys, it's like, he's like, yeah, cool. It's one of those things. Like, I think he just has a good sense of humor about all this stuff. Did you lose me?
Yeah, he definitely got that.
Luke, I can't hear you.
I know. I know. So, what do you have coming up for NCFC? Things you're expecting to see, score predictions. I mean, they're sitting in 10th right
Yeah,
now.
sitting in 10th, giving up a lot of goals. I feel like the guys should be really motivated after getting this win. And I hope they've now gotten past it doesn't matter where their teams are on the table in League One. They're going to give you a game. It doesn't matter where they're sitting. So we've proven if we can score 2, it doesn't matter what happens because we don't normally give up more than 1. It's pretty rare when we do. So I feel like if we can get 2, we win this game 2-0, 2-1. North Carolina, if I don't remember exactly, I don't think they're scoring bunches of goals either. So it's not like we have to worry about them being a team that scores a lot and gives a lot up. But yeah, I feel really confident after. If Wednesday had ended in a draw, I don't know I'd be as confident going into Saturday with North Carolina coming in as a team that from time to time can pull off a random upset, especially over higher, teams higher up in the table.
Yeah.
Just ask Greenville.
Yep. They have been dangerous. They didn't have a Wednesday game. They've had a terrible run the past few weeks.
Yeah.
I think with the confidence we've had now at a 10-game unbeaten streak, being third in the table now?
Third, yep. 2 games in hand.
I hope the boys are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a warped defense, probably a warped just overall play style. Not having somebody who's been training at right back the entirety of it. I think we'll see Ryan back full.
Yeah.
Whether we play 4 in the back or if we keep it at a 3, be interesting to see. But
I wouldn't be if Ryan's on the left. I wouldn't be shocked to see Eddie play right, just because he played so well. In the last match, and that gives us the opportunity to see if it was a one-time Eddie was trying to prove himself thing, or if he's really working his way into solidifying that. I also would rather see Eddie start than maybe Shaft, just because we don't know how long he's been with the team. And needing 3 points again right away, just to help us stay where we are in the table, I would rather go with something that Jay knows is a solid choice and sub on a guy like Shaft at some point.
Well, the other thing is whether Shaft will actually be Federation approved by then.
True. Yeah. I mean, it feels like typically if they're announcing it, they're done or it's very, very close.
Yeah. I'm hoping he's available. I don't expect to see him on the bench by Saturday, but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Don't really have a lineup prediction for it, but just out of habit, 3-0.
I like it. Honestly, lineup wise, I think it's gonna be similar to last Saturday.
Okay.
I think Jay rotated the guys he did midweek so that he'd have guys healthy for Saturday against North Carolina. It's what we would wanted Jay to do for a very long time, and he's doing it. So,
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, I guess we just have one last question. Who gives a hoot? We do.